Full Blown Travel is brought to you by Corporate Traveller, the business travel experts. Switch to Corporate Traveller now and you can save up to 13% on your airfares. Visit corporatetraveller.co.za for more.
In an airport lounge, I sit and wonder how they made such a blunder. I asked for business, I got economy, the food an insult to all gastronomy. But all these things are last on my list because now my hotel doesn't exist.
Sound familiar? Then switch to Corporate Traveller and get tailored business solutions from a dedicated expert. Proven cost savings plus free after-hours support. And with no fixed contract, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. Bring an expert on board today. Visit corporatetraveller.co.za.
Warren Robertson, it's good to see you back here again. Shame you had the old runs last.
Yes, let's not talk about that. It's something I want to forget immediately.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm glad you're better though.
Yes, no, thank you very much.
Michelle Jolley is marketing manager of Corporate Traveller. Michelle, welcome onto the show.
Thanks, Ian. Great to be here.
Yeah, good to have you with us. I'm super excited to talk more about something that you don't really think is hackable, and that's travel, isn't it?
No, absolutely. Towards the end of last year, we were talking quite a lot about holidays and about all that sort of thing. And now everybody's back to work, and the only kind of travel that they're going to be thinking about is what kind of business travel they're doing. Yeah, which is why we've got Michelle in here, obviously, today to discuss. Yeah, ways to make that easier on yourself, I suppose.
Is there actually one trick? I suppose there's a lot of tricks to be able to do this.
Yeah, there are quite a few tricks. And as you say, business travel is far from glamorous. It's a lot of hard work and time away from home. And yeah, at Corporate Traveller, we really understand that and want to make sure that we are imparting information to our clients and potential clients that's going to make that a bit easier. So yes, there are hacks. There are tricks and tips that you can do to get around it.
I love it because I was listening earlier on to some of the things that you were saying, and I once upon a time in my old life traveled ridiculous amounts, and some of those things I had never heard of.
Great.
Very clever. Well, there you are. Yeah. Okay, so it's a list, right? We're going to start at number 10, is that right?
There's a few.
Okay, all right, let's start at the beginning then.
Go for it, tell us.
So something that people may not think about is traveling. You often travel to the same hotels or guest houses, but you can actually chat to them and they can keep a small bag there for you. So a bag of amenities, you want to travel with your giant size shampoo, speak to the hotel or speak to someone like a Corporate Traveller who can arrange that for you. They can hold it there for you, have it in your room waiting when you get there, and yeah, it's half the size of your luggage.
Not just shampoos and toiletries, but also clothes.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
you could pack a spare set of clothes.
Your animal
them out.
onesie, for example.
Exactly.
As one does.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a definite must, I think, especially because you want to travel with a bag that's as small as possible and stick it in the overhead bin.
Also because sometimes the flights charge you for extra if
Exactly.
you're taking too much weight.
And if you're like me who travel with pull-up banners and gazebos and flags and every
what
little...
a nightmare.
Oh, yes.
Those extra things, those banners in those bags that clunk around and knock everyone as you go down the aisle of the
because that's it. Everyone wants them on carry-on in case they get broken as well.
Yeah, that's me. I'm that person everyone hates.
We'll steer clear from you. I'm only joking. All right, cool. What's hack number 9 or 2 or whichever one you want to call it?
So speaking of bags, I've often experienced it where you have your little wheelie bag, you lift it up, lift the handle up, you're waiting in the queue and bang, your bag's toppled over every 5 minutes, which is highly annoying. Simple thing is just to pack your heavy stuff at the bottom, and in that way it'll ground itself, you won't have that problem of falling over all the time, and it'll actually wheel a lot more smoothly.
Very interesting. I have a comment on that in that if your heavy thing is the laptop and it's at the bottom and you have to go through security, you've got to fish it out the bottom. So you've got to figure out a way, right?
Yeah.
You've got to figure out a way. Because 9 times out of 10, that's the heavy thing.
Yeah.
That irritates me, putting bags,
I know.
laptops for security.
This sounds like very fancy baggage to me. I mean, I think I basically use a pick and pay bag.
Sling it over.
I'm surprised they let me on the plane. It's just one of those.
Oh, dear. All right, what's next?
So if you are nervous flyer or turbulence is something that really bothers you, there are some ways to get around that. Firstly, morning flights have a lot less turbulence than afternoon flights. Plus, sitting in the middle of the plane helps a huge amount with that. So think a little bit in advance, especially if you are dealing with an expert, someone, a Corporate Traveller, they can have your preferred seats on file, book it for you, check you in, make sure you get that seat, and give you a much smoother flight.
Okay. That does make sense over the wing, as opposed to at the back where it's properly turbulent.
It is quite.
I just hope my wife is listening, because she and a friend of hers, they travel together occasionally, and she's very bad with the turbulence. She spends the entire flight gripping the seat in fear, and that's without turbulence. I hope she's paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. Book her on the wing.
Yeah.
Book her on the wing. Yeah.
And something else that we find often is clients who try and do business travel themselves really get themselves into a lot of mess with having to arrange with multiple suppliers, making changes, trying to find the best option in terms of price. So using a travel management company like Corporate Traveller will really take that hassle out of it. Our consultants are so experienced. They've been doing this for years, minimum of 3 years. They really know how to get it right for you, and one phone call can really book it all. And if you need to make changes, they're also there. So we find it with a lot of secretaries who are trying to manage their jobs plus manage travel. It's a nightmare, and you're actually not saving any money.
Can I jump in and just say, you gave me a stat which I won't reveal, but what I can say is it's thousands of phone calls after hours from stranded business people or people looking for advice or help. That's a hell of a service when you just actually don't have the bandwidth, time, or energy to be able to book it yourself.
Yeah.
So, and it's free.
It is. Our after-hours service is free, and I can reveal the number. Last year we helped. We covered 4,500 after-hours calls. So that is after 5, it's weekends, the guys are on call, and it's a huge amount. And travellers don't often think that they'll need it, but they do, time and time again.
I think one of the other things that people, they tend to think, I can book things on the internet in general. It's a general travel problem. I can book things on the internet in general, and then something goes wrong or they get stuck in a problem, and they automatically assume that they're saving money when they do that as well. And that's not necessarily the case either, because what we forget is that the agents, because of the numbers of tickets they're selling and the numbers of things, they're actually getting a preferential rate. So you'll end up paying very much what you would pay if you booked it yourself on the internet, and it's almost like those after-hours services are almost free. That's one of the things that you've got to consider with.
And just considering the time of that person, what you're paying that professional to be your secretary or executive, and they're now spending it trawling through websites and making changes and being on hold, and it actually doesn't pay you.
Michelle, there's a nice hack that Warren's just brought up in terms of sheer volume that Corporate Traveller deals with. It's often a very good thing to go through a flight management company versus on the internet, because you can pass those prices on to your clients, can't you?
Exactly, and we are a division of Flight Centre, so we have the advantage of that bulk buying power. So there's certain times that corporates don't have enough buying power on their own to get good prices. We can actually give that to them. Plus, our experts can also assist in having a look at your travel spend. Is there a way that we can negotiate a better deal on your behalf? And by consolidating into a particular airline or car rental company, you have got so much more buying power, and we can help negotiate that for you.
Is that across the board? So not just flights, hotels, cars, whatever it might be? Yeah,
definitely. That's hotels and cars as well. Companies often don't realize how big that portion is of their travel and how much that's just making a few simple changes or streamlining your travel policy can make a big difference to the bottom line.
And there's also some other things that, how they sell airline tickets is a very sneaky kind of an industry, because they split these planes up into about 100 different types of classes. There aren't actually only 3 classes. No. And they sell the tickets at different times at different volumes, and there'll be 3 seats at super cheap, and then 4 more at this cheap, and 5 more if you're flying from New York through to South Africa or London through to South Africa. There'll be different numbers, and it's to actually get the best deal on a plane is very, very difficult. It's not, we all think it's, I'm booking an economy seat. That's not the way these things work. No. So it's actually worth your while.
The secret is revealed.
Yeah, it's worth your while.
Yeah,
I can hear the airlines going, no, don't tell them that.
The airlines have become very good at inventory management, what they call it. And, they really do manage it very carefully. So having someone who can, our systems, they show you all those classes at once. So you really have it at your fingertips to choose one that is the best for customers.
And it can change depending on where you're flying, how you're flying, because they've got all these these interesting things where they prefer to sell to certain currencies, so they have incentives for those currencies. And it is complex as anything, and you need somebody who can look at all the options at the same time and can evaluate those options.
Even certain countries. The airlines will have different availability and prices for different countries, and with our fare finding systems, we can actually look at what other countries see, and we can pull fares if necessary from other areas.
Michelle, a lot of business owners will be listening to this going, Okay, that's cool. But there are a couple of things. First of all, how difficult or easy is it to actually use your services? Because we were talking last week about the fact that there aren't heavy contracts. There's no buy-in. You don't have to spend hours kind of setting this all up. It's a phone call and basically you're done.
Yeah, pretty much. We've got a great sales team. They come out, assess your travel program. You can go onto a trial period. I mean, we have no contract, so we stand behind the fact that we're only as good as our last booking. So it's pretty simple. Even if clients just want to give it a try and see what the benefits are, give us a call, go to our website, corporatetraveler.co.za, or phone through on the 0877 number, which is 0877 40 50 90. And yeah, we can basically, within a couple of hours, you can be trading. So it's very simple.
Okay. And for those bigger companies who might be looking to change, you do implants as well for corporate travel?
Yes, we do. We've got various options. So, and also various payment options. I mean, travel is a big expense, so you can have a 30-day interest-free account. Nice. We can help manage your reporting. So just give you much more visibility and hands-on.
There you go. Don't say that we never help you with this kind of stuff.
Right. So where are we on the list, though? We're on about 5 or something, aren't we?
Yeah. If crowds are something you want to avoid, we generally find. I see some hands going up in the room. We generally find that Wednesday is the quietest time at airports. Busiest time is Thursday through Monday, obviously, because you're combining your business travelers with all your leisure travelers as well. So beat the crowds and go midweek if you can.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's also the tickets are cheaper during midweek as well. You tend to pay if you're flying out Monday morning and flying back from Cape Town, for example, on Friday afternoon. You pay for that. Yeah. So yeah, it's cheaper to organise your meetings on Wednesdays.
Definitely.
We're going to have a sudden rush now,
Yeah, scratch that.
All right, cool. And final one. Have you got a final one for us?
Final one. We've done some research on how booking in advance can change the price of a ticket. And as we were saying earlier, the airlines do manage their inventory quite carefully. And we found that the difference between booking a week in advance and booking a day in advance can be sometimes up to 200%. So it really does pay you to manage it and just to think ahead slightly and book in advance, because it does make a big difference.
Wow. There you go. 200%.
Yeah.
That'll do very nicely. Thank you. Michelle, thank you. That's very informative. I like some of those, actually. I like the midweek thing. That's very clever. Very clever.
Yeah, there's a lot. If you have to travel business, and a lot of people have to. Sadly,
exactly.
You must answer these things. That's the way you must deal with it.
All right, cool. You can find the folks at Corporate Traveler at corporatetraveler.co.za. That's the website, and I'm sure all the numbers are on there as well. So,
yes.
Yeah. Thanks, Warren.
Thank you, Ian.
Nice to see you back again.
Yeah. It's wonderful. I'd much rather be here than the beach, Ian.
Stay away from those dodgy walkie-talkies.
I can't help it.
Michelle, thank you. We'll speak soon.
Thanks very much, Ian.
Take care.
Full Blown Travel was brought to you by Corporate Traveller, the business travel experts. Switch to Corporate Traveller now and you can save up to 13% on your airfares. Visit corporatetraveller.co.za for more.